Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into some intense stories. Imagine having to report a family member for fraud. What happens next? How does it impact relationships and lives? Stay tuned as we uncover real-life experiences and the shocking outcomes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more jaw-dropping stories. Absolutely nothing at all. My brother took out loans in my mom's name, had the money deposited into his own bank account. I couldn't believe this was even possible. Then intercepted all mail and used his own email address and phone number. He spent all the money gambling. When demands for repayment started arriving addressed to mom, he finally admitted he had taken the loans but refused to pay anything back. All the companies were informed. Letters were written, the financial ombudsman was contacted, the police were involved, and all information was shared. The only positive outcomes from about 5 applications were that 2 of the loans had their interest written off, and that's it. They assured us they'd carry out careful investigations, and that was the end of it. Mom is still paying it back monthly to this day. I'm talking about $15K here, by the way. It's almost too easy. My brother moved out of the family home, which was just him and our parents living there, a year ago, and he hasn't seen anybody since. He has blocked me as I've worked day in and day out trying to support mom. He hasn't attended any family occasions and is only in touch via WhatsApp with our dad, who unbelievably supports him and thinks he's done nothing wrong. Dad believes it's a mother's duty, to accept what has been done and pay it all back herself. As you can imagine, it's destroyed the family. Nothing in my case, which is heartbreaking after you finally decide to pursue it. Obviously, it is not easy for anyone to say, my family has done something really wrong to me, so wrong that I need to put myself over my own family and get this cleared up. Nobody wants to press charges against their family. Unfortunately, of course, the facts of in-family fraud make it extremely hard to prove anything. All the contact with the bank happened from your address. Your family member probably had access to all of your paperwork, especially when we're talking about parents using their children, and potentially even coerced you into it without making you aware of what was going on. I just need your card to buy something and I'll pay you back kind of thing, where in fact, they're signing you up to buy something on credit without your knowledge, etc. My mom did that and also attempted to take out credit cards in my name, which thankfully was thwarted when she tried to put me on the phone with the bank to approve it. But I clearly didn't know what was going on. The bank worker on the other end of the phone was like, yeah, I'm going to cancel all of this, within 30 seconds of asking me a few questions. So thanks to him wherever he is, I ended up with a default on my history, and it basically ruined my relationship with my mother, which hasn't recovered. I don't know how you can be around someone you can't trust with your wallet. The whole thing is really difficult, and if you've been through something similar, then my heart goes out to you because the emotions around the betrayal, the conflict over whether to do anything about it, and then trying to deal with the fallout are also tough. I've got 2 stories. First, my parents rented out their home through an agency while they lived with us. The tenant paid the agency, and the agency was supposed to pay us. At some point, the agency stopped paying, and my parents were owed $4,000. We asked the tenant, who proved they had been paying, so it wasn't their fault. We took the agency to court, which took months. In the end, the court instructed the agency to pay $4,000, but nothing ever came of it. The agency didn't pay, and the court stopped responding to us. This was 2 years ago. Second, someone we know was committing fraud by creating companies and dissolving them to avoid VAT and tax. Nothing happened to him. He's still at it full time. It's shocking how easily you can get away with fraud in the UK. I've never reported a family member for fraud, but I was once on a jury for a family that did. One of the offspring had power of attorney for their disabled father, and the other siblings thought he was spending the father's compensation money on himself. It was messy, probably cost a small fortune, and was pretty dull going through endless bank statements. It was really difficult to prove either way. In the end, we found the accused not guilty because there wasn't enough evidence to suggest 100% that he was stealing the money. The family, torn apart by the end of it, looked at each other as if to say, I can't believe it got to this point. It was sad. A cousin of mine applied for about 30 loans in his mother's name, totaling 40K. He spent it on maintaining a lifestyle he couldn't afford. Eventually, he was found out. With family help, the loans were written off because my aunt couldn't afford them, and the companies shouldn't have loaned the money. Nothing serious happened to my cousin, police-wise. He was ostracized from the family for several years. When his dad passed away from a long-term illness, he was forgiven and let back in. In fairness, he has turned over a new leaf, works as a mechanic for a high-end car company, and appears to have put it behind him. He was like 21 when he did all this, and he has matured a lot since. In another case, my brother stole literally everything from my mom, left her with huge debt, and gallivanted off abroad to buy his luxury home. The police were worse than useless. They sent an officer to get a warrant, and I had to help him fill it in after he messed it up 4 times. Once, he put the wrong year. Another time, he filled out a warrant for tissue samples instead of one to search a premises. I told them about storage facilities in the loft, but they forgot to take a look. By then, the evidence was hidden or destroyed. Lawyers made a mess of things, and it got too expensive. The solicitor's regulatory authority did nothing because he'd stopped practicing law by then. The whole situation almost broke me.